The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy. You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is May 21st, 2025. We are live to tape on episode 843. And today, South African mind games. And signing on from Off the Grid, Razzle Dazzle. I'm your best buddy Basil, and you are not crazy.
And my name is Gonz, director of the Age of Deceit films, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ, live to tape in the metaverse to bring you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. And today, according to the Canary Cry calendar, is National Rapture Party Day. So I have a rapture joke for you. Why did the angels tell me to get rid of all my baggage?
Why?
To make sure I'll be light enough to be caught up in the rapture.
Hey-o.
Hey. Multiple layers of theology there.
Love rapture jokes there, especially sort of ones you really, really got to think about. Well, beautiful. Thank you so much, Gonz. We are here for episode 843. That number just keeps on rising. And, you know, it's another one of those weeks. The week just keeps on rolling fast, almost faster than we can even keep up. It's like, again, we need to go to 3, maybe 4, who knows, maybe even 5 shows a day, but we'll let the producers decide that. And I did say day and not week, because who needs time to eat or sleep? Nobody. It's all news analysis all the time. Well, Gonz, I want to start out the show with a beloved segment, one that we don't do every show anymore. And we made that choice about 6 months ago, maybe a year. And nobody has complained or even commented on the fact that we don't do this segment every show anymore. So I think we made the right choice, but we will start out now because we've turned a corner. It's time for the Flippy Update.
Flippy Update.
Do you want fries with that?
Yes, right. It's time for the Flippy Update. Look at that. We're so old school that you just got the audio jingle, not even the animation. It's a throwback, folks. It is the Flippy Update. Flippy is our colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a way to explore all the new, fun, and exciting ways that robots are taking over the world and how there's nothing we can do about it. And it's been an exciting year. The year that we all expect to get robots in our homes, and the only Elon Musk, or I don't know, maybe he's not the only, maybe one of his clones, tweeted a video regarding his new and improved Optimus robot. You know, Kim Kardashian's boyfriend. You might know him. And here we go. We're going to play this clip. And for those who are listening, it's an astounding clip of what seems to be some sort of training lab at Tesla robotics facility or whatever, and a beautiful montage of robots doing, you know, really important work, throwing out the trash, sweeping up some cereal into a dust thing. This one, I was impressed, grabs a roll of paper towels, rips off a paper towel, and drops it on the table. Very impressive.
One piece.
Much
One
needed.
piece. Hey, I have trouble with that. Half the time I roll off a piece
rip
of
the little
paper
corner
towel.
off,
It rips.
or,
Yeah, it's never clean. Never clean.
It's
Yeah.
very impressive.
He's cooking.
And all with some pretty astounding. Yes, now this one got me a little bit. He's stirring a pot a little aggressively, and the pot kind of flails around.
Moves
a bit.
around.
That's a little
yeah,
worrying.
yeah.
Next, grabs a vacuum that is not plugged into anything and moves it back and forth. Very impressive. This one, I have no idea. Putting a wrench in a hole. Now he's opening up a cupboard. He's opening up the cupboard. Very good. He's looks
opening
in the
up a
cupboard.
microwave.
A microwave. That's useful. See, these are things that are supposed to be inspiring to show us that it is by the end of this year that Elon claims there will be 100,000 Optimus robots. And one of the, I don't know, points they were trying to get across in this particular video is that there is a single neural network
Yes.
that is processing all of these actions. All of these actions were trained on video of human beings, doing the thing. They show the footage of a human who's basically wearing a GoPro on their head, stirring a pot, grabbing the paper towel, whatever. And that is being fed into a single neural network that is controlling what looks to be like 16 robots here, which is impressive as far as, the technical specs and I will admit, sort of impressive movements, the precision, the grace that these robots are moving by. But again, making a big point that all of these robots are being controlled by one single neural net, which is kind of giving away the ghost. I don't know, giving away something. That all these Optimus robots, they are not singular entities. There's no onboard sort of AI. It is not your Optimus robot in your house is not sort of just your buddy. It's not a what is the word? It's not an individual. It's not your robot. It's a hive mind. Your buddy, your little robot in your house doing all your chores, are human beings, of course. This is what is so mind-blowing about the sort of technocratic future. If there's a body standing in front of us, an individuated body doing something in front of us, we think of that thing as an individual. But what is really just being advertised and celebrated here is that your individual robot in your home is not an individual. It is simply a tentacle of a hive mind. It is a portal. Your robot is a portal into another realm, another dimension, which has its tentacles in everybody else's home, which should be a little concerning, but not surprising.
Well, your home is going to contribute to the network, the singular database by which all of the Optimists operate. It shows footage at the very end of this clip of a first-person point of view of somebody maybe wearing like one of those meta glasses or something, stirring the pot. Teaching the robot how to stir the pot, or all the different footage or things that the robot was doing from the perspective of a human being doing it, and
this
saying
is
that
being bragged about. This is the thing: is they're bragging that much like Tesla cars, it's learning and operating visually. That's the whole thing with Tesla cars. It doesn't have radar. It doesn't have LiDAR. It doesn't have all the fancy invisible tech to drive the car. It's just done with cameras. This has been an obsession of Elon since the beginning. And
the
your
surveillance
Optimus robot,
state.
Right, your Optimus robot will be working in the same exact way. It's learning by watching. And once the human training has reached the level where they can start putting these things in houses, then yes, your robot, a portal to another dimension, will be sending its own visual feed back to the neural net to teach all the other robots, which in one hand is, a very impressive futuristic sci-fi idea. On the other hand, a sort of terrifying dystopian, told you so moment for everybody who's been talking about robots in the home.
Well, a couple things. One, the hive mind neural network thing is the utility is advantageous. Like, hey, I'm gone this weekend. You want to borrow my Tesla or my Optimus robot so you have two of them in your house? Oh, perfect. Yeah, you're already in the database, so my Optimus will know exactly what your house is, mapped as or whatever. And
it'll be able to operate immediately in another house.
Yeah. Well, you're already in the database, all of your dimensions and your rooms and everything. The other thing is we just spoke to Zoltan Istvan for Canary Cry Radio episode number 185, 186 maybe. And one of his things, running as a Democrat for the gubernatorial election for California.
Yes, he's running
for 2026.
California.
he said he wants 5-foot robots in every Californian's home.
That was one of the fun little campaign slogans that we kind of discovered together during the interview. What was it? It was something like a robot in every home and an AI in every. What? I'd have to look at my notes again.
Something about UBI
something in
every
your wallet.
UBI in every wallet.
That's what it was. Yes, a robot in every home and UBI in every wallet. That's going to be the fun part.
You know what I noticed here too is that on the paper towel clip, like you mentioned, there are people assisting or like nearby the robot, kind of monitoring the robot. In this occasion, very intense Asian guy on a computer, making sure that the Optimus properly takes off the paper towels. And this makes me wonder, does anytime somebody buys an Optimus robot, does it also automatically hire a very smart Asian?
Comes with an Asian. You get it's an Asian back at headquarters. Gets assigned to your. There's going to be very NSA, very FBI.
I was thinking more in-home Asian.
No, we can't have an
especially
Asian in every home.
Especially for Asian Heritage Month this month,
There's
which
not
I
enough.
found out about 3 weeks into the month of May. I found out that it is Asian Heritage Month. So people were congratulating me on X. Thank you. Appreciate it. I did nothing to deserve this.
I think there's a battle between Asian Heritage Month and Pride Month, maybe, or is Pride Month next month? You know who I learned from that it was Asian Heritage Month was Kathy Tai, the husband of Dr. He Jiankui, the CRISPR baby criminal man. She has not stopped tweeting, and she's become my favorite person to watch.
Maybe Asian Heritage Month activated her, her operation. This is the month she's supposed to.
I think she said as much herself.
That's true. On this month,
I feel a little bit of lag coming on, which is concerning because I see this next article tab is reloading, so I think I'm being hacked by Israel or something.
You're being hacked by Israel. You can't say that. That's not okay. No, they don't hack.
Jerusalem Post. They're hacking me through the Jerusalem Post. So, which
Kabbalah.
Kabbalah is a belief system that predates religion.
Kabbalah.
It's incredibly scientific.
So the Jerusalem Post
scientific.
has an ongoing one of these live update headlines, or I don't know. It's a page for the live updates of the news. So, every few minutes a new update pops up. But the consistent tagged headline here is Netanyahu trial hearing day 33 ends an hour early in Tel Aviv District Court. Ooh, it ended an hour early.
I mean,
is that what happened on the 33rd day? I mean, newsworthy, headline worthy.
Exactly. Well, see, that goes back to our point that the number 33 is a messaging number to message things in plain sight, because who cares if the trial ended an hour early any day? I mean, I like, what does that even mean? But you do need a reason to put 33 into the news. So, there's a lot of things. Netanyahu's got a lot going on, okay? So
there's a lot happening.
This could mean literally anything.
33 is the number of completion of the Great Work. The first temple of Solomon stood for 33 years. David ruled for 33 years in Jerusalem.
Did you talk over the jingle? Are you lagging that bad?
Yeah, I think we had a little lag. It's like just kind of popping in and out. Am I lagging as we speak?
You sound fine to me, but you must not be getting me in real time. I feel like I'm getting you decently real time.
Okay, I'm getting a little bit of a pause from you, but that's okay. We'll make it through. This is your segment anyways. Keep us there.
Yeah. All right. Well, yes, the 33 day 33 of Netanyahu's hearing comes at the heels of another Jerusalem Post headline here that was from a couple days ago. Trump to Israel will abandon you if war continues, source tells WaPo report. And so the tensions between Israel and the modern nation state Israel and the United States with Trump continues. And Again, hard to tell if this is just a little public saber rattling to temper some of Trump's base, or if there's strategic moves here taking place. I get the feeling that part of, the swamp or the deep state, those labels that Trump is trying to turn over in the United States has its tentacles in modern nation state Israel. And so it's almost like the same tactics, if you will. Yeah, he's got to play everything a little different, obviously, with different countries. But I get the feeling that based on sentiment plus what they're trying to accomplish in the Middle East, he's just playing a game here. And part of it is to start to threaten Israel. And by the way, this topic has gotten so heated in the last, year, especially in the corners of truthdom. It's become almost like a campaign in itself against Israel and the Jews and all this kind of stuff. And I can understand where people are coming from, because I feel that I've gone through the same thing. But really, what it comes down to is, to me anyway, the bigger picture, if you pull back and look at it from 1,000-foot view, is that the unshakable reality that this topic of Israel, just in general, is this stumbling block for mankind. And it just proves the biblical account, in my opinion, because, you can get into the nuances. I always talk about, hey, define what you mean by Israel when you're having a conversation about it, because are you talking about the modern nation state? Are you talking about the biblical Israel in the Old Testament? Are you talking about, a kind of spiritual Israel that's described in the New Testament? You got to kind of define your terms when you're discussing this issue. Otherwise, you talk past each other and people are yelling at each other and, Zionists are evil and all that kind of stuff. Everything kind of gets either lumped together or, whatever. So it's a challenging issue, but I think it reflects the reality of the fallen world in a sense, because just like how Jesus was rejected, by his people, basically, in his account of, taking on the sins of the world, it's fascinating that now the nation state of Israel, almost in a similar way, has to go through, or not the nation state, but just the topic of Israel. I'm sorry, even bigger than the nation state. The topic of Israel becomes the most contentious issue in the world, and perhaps will shape politics, policy, but also end times type of stuff, eschatology.
No, you make a good point. First of all, I want to note that it is the Jerusalem Post that is crashing my computer.
No, I'm sure they're going, hey, look at this off-grid googly eye man. He's got go ahead.
My ad blocker has blocked 174 attempts for tracking on the Jerusalem Post.
Great.
Now,
great.
You point out the right thing, which is, this really, first of all, has no connection to reality. It is crafting reality. This is a reality crafting narrative. We are in a 5th generation war overall, over any other type of war that's being fought today. It is an information war. It is a war for the minds of the people. And in a 5th generation war, it is post-truth. It's post-sourcing, as is displayed here on this Jerusalem Post article, which says U.S. President Donald Trump has been increasing pressure on Israel over recent days. An anonymous source told the Washington Post Monday, here's the quote, Trump has been letting Israel know, we will abandon you if you do not end this war. The source added, speaking on the condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to speak to the press. So not only is it a anonymous source, they don't even say like an anonymous source at the White House or an anonymous source close to the situation or an anonymous source familiar with Trump's thinking. It is just poof, out of nowhere. It could have come from the janitor at the Jerusalem Post building. It's, so it is pure reality crafting, and especially in this world where, first of all, Christianity has gained a lot more, I would say, public relevance. On top of that, biblical prophecy, the end of the book of Revelation, has also gained a lot more clout on a broader level. And the ongoing question about, hey, are we in the end times? Well, what's the what's the biblical roadmap for the end times? Well, the beast betrays the harlot. Okay, well, we can craft this we can craft live in real time this trigger point, this touch point for this now newly very popular topic, which is biblical prophecy. And we can get an anonymous source, not have any reality behind it, but not only craft reality in people's minds, but perhaps even cause reality to move in that direction. There's lots of different angles to the fifth generation. I'm starting to convince. Now, we've talked about fifth generation warfare as a secular analog or counterfeit to spiritual warfare. It is essentially spiritual warfare stripped of spiritualness, right?
Right. It's the mental, psychological, emotional. It's all sort of the unseen parts of us being manipulated or influenced in one way or another.
Yeah, right. Same as spiritual war, it may not be seen, but it is felt and it is no less real. These are the types of things that I think are wielded very expertly by at least some in the media, if not those who are sort of, again, the anonymous sources. It could have come from Netanyahu himself. Who knows?
That's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah,
a bad dream or something that Trump was yelling at him. What do you have here from the ibc.co.uk?
Yeah, just a complimentary article here that came out today from ibc.co.uk. Israel, quote, preparing strikes on Iran without Trump's support. This also flared up recently. Bombing Iran would fly in the face of U.S. President Donald Trump's recent attempts to make a deal with Tehran. Israeli intelligence seen by U.S. officials suggests the country is making preparations to launch airstrikes at Iranian nuclear facilities, according to CNN. While it's not certain that Israel will eventually strike Iran, one official believes, quote, the chance of an Israeli strike on an Iranian nuclear facility has gone up significantly in recent months. And again, the sourcing on this is American intelligence, the ones who are also fighting the fifth generation war across the globe.
We lost you.
I lost you. Are you being quiet?
You
there we
completely
go.
blacked out.
I'm
No,
back.
you're back. Yep.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Well, that's a good example
fifth
of
gen warfare.
The podcast version. We'll get the clean feed. Remember to go subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcast player, folks, because you get a significantly increased audio experience. Fifth gen warfare.
They're targeting you. They're targeting you.
Fifth gen warfare.
Speaking of 33, real quick here, LiveScience.com breaking 3 hours ago. 33-inch long woolly mountain rat caught on camera for the first time. The world's second biggest rat species, our gargantuan woolly beast, was caught on camera in the mountains in New Guinea. And I got to tell you, Basil, this thing is scary.
It's a big rat.
It's a big
rat.
Beast. It's a beast out of the earth.
It's 33-inch long woolly mountain rat.
Yep. These rats are named subalpine woolly rats. The Malomys istapantap measures up to 33.5 inches long from the end of their tail to their nose and weighs as much as 4.4 pounds. First identified in 1989.
Yeah, I do like the year it was identified was the same year as the fall of the Berlin Wall. They found this giant rat. That's very interesting. What was that? That was also the fall of the Soviet Union. I think there's backdooring some anti-Russian propaganda here with this 33-inch rat.
It's a woolly rat that carries Russian propaganda all over the world. There you go. So, while Netanyahu's on his 33rd day of trial, which ended an hour early, you also have a 33-inch woolly rat running around.
Woolly rat from 1989.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we have some great news we got to get through. We are paying very close attention to time, Gon, so we should thank some executive producers who we have to thank for this very special episode of Canary News Talk.
Executive producers.
We are on the value for value model, folks, which means we don't take any money from corporations, commies, cartels, governments, non-government organizations, or the Vatican. Not even the Kremlin, you know. It's hard. It's really hard making your way as a media property these days without getting funding from, governments, non-government organizations, etc. But we do it. And how do we do it, and why do we do it? Well, we certainly have lots of reasons, not the least of which is the sort of occult roots and dark spiritual miasma that is the advertising industry, a mammon-worshipping religion that believes very strongly that for those who want to try to share their ideas or their insights on the internet, they can only do so if they monetize the consciousness and trust of their very beloved listeners and viewers. But not here, folks. We are not in the business of monetizing your time and attention for our own personal gain. However, we are on the value for value model, which means we only exist because of the continuing participation of our producers. And the producers, that's you. And, we recommend about every 30 days or so, everybody say, am I getting value? Did I get value? Do I plan on getting more value? Because there is an inherent deep, deep understanding, perhaps even a gnosis, that without the participation of producers in keeping us alive, we just will not exist. So it's a very real practical practice in personal responsibility across the board. And you can produce the show with your time, your talent, or your treasure. It's not all about money. If you have artistic talent, you can create things for us. If you've got time on your hands, you can help us with all sorts of stuff. But if that's not your thing, you can always produce the show financially with your treasure. You just got to go to canarycry.support to learn all about it.
I'm never prepared for this.
No, you're not. It's okay. It's part of the fun. It's like a jingle in itself. That's
I'm ready.
Right. He's ready. The executive producers are those who came in and support the show for $100 or more for any individual episode. So that is why we thank them now. And I want to start out by thanking the one, the only, get that demooching ready, Gons, because we've got executive producer, Sir Captain Redbeard, Pirate King of the Demoochers.
Where'd you find this?
Bankroll after bankroll, I spend.
There you go.
Thank you very much. Sir Captain Redbeard, Pirate King of the Demoochers. He always gets demooched, well, because he's the Pirate King of the Demoochers. And he comes in with a nice round number that we appreciate very much, and a good reminder to everybody that when you produce the show financially, if you just come in with a nice round number on the 10 or the 5, that's you telling us you'd prefer we do not disclose the amount live on the air. If you don't mind us disclosing it, you may put some funky numbers in there. 33 cents, 77 cents, 1, 2, 3, 4. Just have some fun with it. That's you telling us to read it on the air. So thank you very much, Sir Captain Redbeard, Pirate King of the Demoochers. I did not see a note from Mr. Sir Captain Redbeard, but I'll keep my eye open in case something comes through.
All right.
Next
Thank you very much.
up, we've got executive producer Dame Sarah of the Shadows.
Where'd you find this?
Bankroll after bankroll, I spend.
Dame Sarah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dame Sarah. Did not see a note, but came in with a nice round number. This is one of these beautiful moments, Gons, where, it's been a pretty slow couple weeks for the value for value index, of course. That is the most precise reading of world events and economic uncertainty. But when the time comes, it is the knights and the dames of Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames who come in and continue to do their part as Canary Cry nobility to keep us alive. So thank you to all the knights and dames.
Yep, thank you very much.
Of course, we've got Sir Elix Protocol, V2, Baron of the Brian Protocol.
Where'd you find this?
Bankroll after bankroll, I spend.
Baron.
Coming in with $100 and 33 cents.
Thank you,
Yes,
Sir
on
Alex
that-
Protocol.
393 episodes streak and a 47 episode executive producer streak.
Boom.
Thank you very much. And last but not least, coming in just under the clock, I think. Is that a thing? Just under the clock? I don't know. We have executive producer Chelsea S. coming in to
Where'd you find this?
Roll out the bankroll, I spin.
Chelsea S., thank you very much.
Thank you, Chelsea S., with a nice round number. That concludes our executive producers for today's show. Thank you very, very much for that. We've got some other producers we'll thank later on in the show. But for now, I want to take a second and thank everybody who got out their phone, opened their text messaging app, and texted the word Canary to 877-740-3226 and joined the Canary Cry text message alert system. Of course, we know better than to rely on video platforms and, other things to send out notifications when we go live. Much less do we trust them to keep us on the air the second that they get an opportunity to take us off. And so the best way to stay in touch, stay connected, and not miss a show, but also have a direct line to your best buddies, is to text the word Canary to 877-740-3226. I will say I saw somebody texted the number. They are not a member. They did not text Canary. They just texted the words live update or something, live notification, which this is there's very strong consumer protections on this kind of system. So I cannot add you myself. So you must text the word Canary to that number. But the fun part is you can you got to follow directions, I know. But the fun part is you can also text us back at that number whenever you want. I read them, I see them, I love them. You can be like 989. Pay attention. You can hear if there's anybody in your area code texting in. 989 says, "Hey boys, listening as I install siding in the rain. Thanks for keeping my mind off how slow time seems to be going right now." Yes, 989, time is an illusion, but good luck out there, buddy. 678, this is TDL Prez, says, praying the wonk is worked out. Still working on working out the wonk on my side. Party for you both and the fan, TDL Prez. The wonk really always gets in the way, and sometimes there's nothing you can do about the wonk, Gons.
Is it a goo wonk? Wonky goo? What is the wonk?
Wonky can be anything, just when things get wonky. 360 says, "Woot, God bless you guys and all the hard work you do. Because of y'all, we are properly informed and can better discern what is the truth." Thank you very much. That's what we love to hear, 360. I mean, that's what I have told people in the past in real life, which is, look, it's not even just about informing people. It is about not misinforming people. Or, practicing the ability for one to not be misinformed, which is it's a very tough skill and not something that everybody has. So lastly, we have 856 says, "Peace be with you. I love the idea of using the text message alert system to facilitate meetups. Thank you for that vote." And thank you to everybody who sent text messages into the text message alert system. Hopefully I can read some more later on in the show. But if you have not done it yet, take out your phone. Text the word Canary to 877-740-3226. I think that, one last reminder. There's a meetup in Houston, Texas at Battle Axe Throwing. Go to canarycrymeetups.com. You'll see all the information. Show up to this meetup. Meet other Canarians in your area. These meetups are very important. And this is where people are meeting their future spouses, their best friends, or their apocalypse buddies for, when things go south. You need an actual human being. Do not rely on the sort of occultic portal that is the robots that will soon be marching around your home. Those are not individuals. That is a tentacle of the hive mind. You need real human beings, especially Canarians, in your life to survive just being alive. So go do that. canarycrymeetups.com. Houston, Texas, May 24th. That is coming up. Battle Axe Throwing. There's the contact information there at the website.
This is fun!
Bong, boom. All right, Gons. Well, this is, I'm glad we finally get to talk about this. This has been something that's been churning and moving, and I've been reading about it for weeks, honestly, months and even years. This is a topic that has been going on under the radar, but it has come to a head in this fifth generation warfare that we seem to have made it our jobs to try to navigate. But it fits in with a very important topic and category that we started exploring a few years ago, and that is Afrofuturism, Gons.
Study. What shall we do?
Afrofuturism.
We will launch a new age.
From BLM to Wakanda, Africa is the future. The globalists have been telling us this for quite some time. And so paying attention to Africa is a very important thing to do. Now, obviously, there's been a flare-up recently. I have been tracking this as close as I can for many weeks now. And boy, oh boy, is it difficult. The fifth generation warfare, the spiritual warfare is in full swing. But today seems to be the day because Donald Trump held a press conference in the Oval Office. He dusted off the Zelensky hot seat. Yeah. Yes. Did you have a comment?
No, I was just saying whoever's up next on that hot seat is in trouble. They should know by now. They should come prepared.
Well, and I think they do. It is very interesting. Of course, we saw this with the Zelensky. We renamed this chair the Zelensky hot seat. It seems to be a trial by fire that Trump will bring in world leaders of various types, including business leaders, sit them in this chair, and then they are put through the ringer. And, you know, it's so fun watching this every time he does it because it's never the same. It's never the same thing twice. And that's what makes him so good. Can't figure him out. Can't figure out Trump. It is almost really like watching The Apprentice. You know, you really see, it's like watching a reality TV show, and just like The Apprentice, you know, Trump as the boss creates these challenges, these reality TV show challenges to put world leaders through. And in this case, he sitting there in the Zelensky hot seat is the president of South Africa. Now, you may have been watching on your timeline or hearing on the news rumblings about, well, the language being used is white genocide. Now, I'll tell you this. It is unclear to me, and I read about 80 articles a week. I've been reading this for, many weeks. I'm thinking I've maybe read at least 30 articles throughout the few weeks now, just trying to find an angle, trying to find just something to hold on to, because I don't really know how to articulate it, but the fifth generation warfare is very strong with this one. And you may have seen, if you're paying attention to the mainstream news, you'll see article after article after headline after headline after headline of "There is no white genocide in South Africa. Trump invents conspiracy about South Africa. White people are totally fine in South Africa." And you go through these articles, and I'm sitting here because we are professional news analysts. So I'm going through, I'm like opening every single one. I'm like, okay, let's get them all. Let's find some sort of through line. Let's find where they give an inch, because that's usually how they'll go is, of course, they're there to communicate a message that they are paid or instructed to communicate. And they're often in lockstep. And boy, oh boy, are they in lockstep with this one. It's basically copy paste of the exact same article 1,000 times over, which is, white Africans are fine. White South African people are totally fine. Yes, some people get hurt, but there's a lot of crime. It happens to everybody. There's nothing weird going on here. And Trump is racist for allowing South African white people to come into the country. Of course, last week we had the South African white refugee hullabaloo. Now, bringing this whole thing to a head, and we'll get in, I'll be kind of summarizing the details as I know them. We have, and as I'm reading all these articles, I'm going, okay, but where, what, like when, they're not giving a single inch to what we're actually seeing with our eyeballs online. So you have this ultimate showdown between the sort of, civilian journalism, the X-journalism, the testimonies, the videos, the documentaries, the sort of endless amount of content that you can readily access that tells a different story, that tells a pretty scary story about a political shift in South Africa, what seems like a little bit of racial revenge for apartheid, and some really, truly like horrific stories, specifically regarding white farmers in South Africa, which, just a few details, the majority of farming or farmers in South Africa are white people. And of course, the black people in South Africa have an issue with this because, it's sort of a position of power. It's a position of wealth. It's a position of, it's kind of like the white man is feeding us type of thing. And so there have been many reports of black criminals in South Africa invading, killing, stealing white South African farmers' land and belongings and lives. And it's just really the most horrible stuff. Now, when we're here trying to navigate propaganda, fifth generation warfare, it really becomes important to try our best to not let the emotional aspect of these stories sort of guide our judgment, because we've seen that when it's done in the mainstream with the liberal majority in America. We know how this goes. However, while a lot of these stories are just very emotionally triggering because the stories are horrific, you go into the details, and for the most part, I'm having a hard time finding lies about them necessarily. But you read the mainstream, and it doesn't matter what outlet, it's fact check, false news, no, nothing's happening. But there's no, like, my question then is like, okay, then why? Then why are the 17,000 white African farmers applying for refugee status? Why are these stories going around? What do they have to gain by, developing this vast content network and documentary and media thing? What do they have to gain? And I'm having a hard time finding something for them to gain. But it all came to a head as Trump brought in the president of South Africa, put him in the Zelensky hot seat, and did something very interesting. And we're going to play this clip that was played live on Fox from start to finish. And this Trump did something here that we have never seen him do before. At the same time, Fox did something here which we've never seen them do before. And we'll talk about it after playing a bit of this clip.
Turn the lights down, and just put this on. It's right behind you. Johan.
There's nothing this parliament can do. With or without you, people are going to occupy land. We require no permission from you, from the president, from no one.
Pause it real quick.
We don't.
So what we have here, Trump dims the lights in the very crowded Oval Office. He beckons the South African president to look at a screen that has now been wheeled into the room. Lights go down, and a video starts playing. And the South African president seems to not know that he's supposed to be watching the video. He keeps turning to Trump. He's trying to talk to Trump. Trump keeps pointing at the thing, saying, no, we're not going to talk. You're going to watch this video. And playing on this video is a selection of clips, which I have seen before, trying to figure out what's going on here. And it's a compilation of I guess,
South African
not necessarily
leaders.
Clips. Yeah, South African Yeah, they're kind of long. They're long clips. Yeah, kind of tied together in a compilation. South African political leaders of some major political parties, multiple, not just the one, making
There's like
speeches.
parliament footage and speech footage at rallies, things like that.
Yeah, and on the floor of Parliament. So like in federal government buildings, in official proceedings, all the way to what look like rallies, where there's lots of dancing and singing. We can get a little bit more of the audio experience here.
Demand that at some point there must be killing, because the killing is part of a revolutionary act. Shoot to kill, Gaza, kill the poor, the farmer,
What are they cheering there, Basil? What are they cheering and jumping around?
Yeah,
dancing?
so this is one of the main things that people will refer to as to, a sort of white genocide, or at least as a rational explanation as to why white farmers in South Africa are fearing for their lives enough that they will
trying to
seek
flee.
refugee status.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a song. Did I close the thing? Well, actually, I'll play you this right now. Play the controversial song clip.
Controversial song. Is that this YouTube?
Yes.
Here?
That's the
Okay,
one. Let's play this a little bit.
This South African song has been igniting quite the firestorm online. Once deemed a struggle chant, modern adaptations of it have kindled cries of white genocide. So why is this song so controversial? Well, it's mostly to do with its lyrics.
Kill the poor, the farmer.
That chant about killing the Boers, the descendants of Dutch settlers in South Africa. Dubulibunu, which translates to shoot the Boer, was born in the throes of apartheid-era South Africa in the early 90s. Apartheid, which is the Afrikaans word for separateness, was pretty popular among white voters who sought to preserve their dominance over South Africa's black majority. The chant had roots across the political spectrum and was brought back into the public sphere by politician Peter Mokaba after the African National Congress Youth League was reconstituted in 1991, when it grew into a rallying call against apartheid. Dubul Ibunu is one of a number of struggle songs. That is, political anthems that were a key part of the fight to end white rule over non-whites in South Africa. As ANC lawmaker Gwede Mantashe put it in 2010,
we're not talking about whites, we're talking about the system of apartheid. The biggest problem I have is when journalists interpret Dubul Ibunu as kill the Boer, kill the farmer, which is a vulgarized interpretation of the song.
Apartheid ended in 1994.
Let's pause it right there. Okay, so there's this song, you listen to it, you can see many versions of it. It seems to be sung all the time. And the words go something like, kill the Boer, and the Boer is the name for the white South Africans. Kill the Boer, shoot to kill, shoot, shoot, gat, these sorts of things. And, this video here is saying, people are making a mistake by thinking that the song is about killing white people. Yes, doesn't say explicitly kill the white people. Yes, but it's a metaphor, Gons.
It's a metaphor. Oh, okay.
It's a metaphor. It is vulgarized to interpret this song as meaning kill white people. It's about killing the system.
The system,
and,
right. Yeah, down with the system.
Down with the system. And the system just happens to be white people. Now, this song is sung all the time. That Mokaba fella, who usually is the one leading the chant, it's sort of this chant call and response type of thing. Plenty of interviews with this fella, with various journalists being like, okay, so you're saying kill the Boer, kill the farmer, kill the white man, will you commit to not calling for the killing of white people? And he goes, nom. The journalist goes, wait, are you saying you will not call for the killing of white people? Not yet, not now. He literally says,
not yet.
No, not
what do you mean,
not
yet.
Exactly. So it's kind of the point is that this guy, this Peter Makaba, who is the head of a really, we'll hear the South African president try to describe the political situation, but there's a couple of them. I think one is the EFF, or I hope I get that acronym correct, which is a fairly major political party in South Africa. And you can tell it's major because when he's leading these chants, it is to a group of like 20,000 people. These are not small rallies. These are bigger rallies than like Trump rallies. So that's just one example of, you're reading the news coverage of this, and you're even watching this pro, Dubulu Ubuntu or whatever it's called song, pro kill the Boer. And they're saying, yes, it's kill the Boer, kill the white. What are the Boers? Well, it's the white man, it's the Dutch descendants. Kill the farmer. Okay. But it's a struggle song, Gons. It's a song of struggle, okay?
I don't know how it's a struggle song when it's happening. The majority are the ones, singing it against the minority in that particular nation.
Yeah, and that's a great point. The white people in South Africa are an extreme minority. Now, of course, their side would say, well, the white people are an extreme minority, but they hold most of the wealth and they hold most of the land. And you hear this Peter Makaba's guy's speeches. Politics is much different in South Africa, where, they really got to try to make Trump sound like a crazy person. This guy, you really got to try hard to make him not sound like a violent, crazy person. It's extremely violent and literal calling for, the death of white people and taking of their land because they're the oppressors, these types of things. So that's the song. And this is a major part. Now, whether or not the numbers go, in the way of a literal genocide, I mean, genocide is such a topic of conversation because there's a big conversation. Is what's going on in Gaza a genocide? Is it ethnic cleansing? Is it this? I mean, it's quite clear that these major, not just political parties, but sitting politicians in South Africa are advocating for, look, if Gaza's not a genocide, they called it ethnic cleansing. We can call that. They want to get, clear out the place so it can be occupied. I mean, if that's that, and I'm saying, there's people on the left and the right who are saying this about Gaza. If you're looking at this situation in South Africa, it doesn't matter if you're on the left or the right. If you have any sort of logical consistency, you're going to see these connections. So with this, let's jump back to the Oval Office here and catch just a couple minutes of the South African president talking, sitting in the hot seat, going through trial by fire with Trump. This starts out as the speaking before the video, and it'll have a little bit after. Once you hit us
which, by the way, the video, it's literally 3 or 4 minutes of just footage that you would not be able to air on regular mainstream media. It's stuff that you'd probably see on your X feed or something like that, or Telegram.
That they would refuse. Yes, they would refuse to show this stuff. And Fox News, with a live feed, just points their camera at the television. I mean, it's horrible television. It is not engaging TV at all. But Fox News here just pans the camera over and films this TV screen with like people standing around it for 4 minutes. It's really excruciating. Now, it might have been more excruciating for me because I've seen the clips before, but for anybody else who had not had access to the clips, it's another thing.
Let me play a little bit of Trump's response about the bodies, and then we'll go to the clip of the president of South Africa explaining it before and after this particular moment here. So this is Trump reacting to some of the footage being shown.
They can seek refugee in America.
Now this is very bad. These are burial sites right here. Burial sites. Over 1,000 of white farmers, and those cars are lined up to pay love on a Sunday morning. Each one of those white things you see is a cross. And there's approximately 1,000 of them. They're all white farmers, the family of white farmers. And those cars aren't driving, they're stopped there to pay respects to their family member who's killed. And it's a terrible sight. I've never seen anything like it.
All right, so never seen anything like it. You know, the president's kind of uneasy, queasy, or this is the South African president uneasy in his seat. So this is some footage from before the footage and then a little bit after, just to get a little context here. And this is coming from NBC 10 Boston's YouTube channel, which ironically enough has a Wikipedia, I don't know, what is it, an info box or something? It used to be like the fake news debunker or whatever they were calling it, but it's just a little note sometimes.
Yeah, the fact check note thing.
Yeah, the little fact check thing of white genocide conspiracy theory for the Wikipedia.
Yeah,
there,
right.
Which is hilarious that NBC Boston gets that. Mm-hmm.
Before you play this clip, DCL Creative in the chat says, I'm from South Africa. I'll do a call-in if you want on call-in day, off the bed right now. Will somebody, maybe Sir Darren, will you help DCL Creative email us if he doesn't have our information already? Yeah, get in contact with us, DCL.
Yep, sounds good. All right, here's a little bit of from the Oval Office. Muted? He's muted.
I'm getting audio.
For you to be convinced that there's no white genocide in South Africa?
Well, I can answer that for the president. It's, for him, no, seriously.
I'd rather have him answer.
Yeah, I'd rather answer that. It will be.
Our president will respond to you.
Yeah, let me,
Thank you, Mr. President.
It will take President Trump listening to the voices of South Africans, some of whom are his good friends, like those who are here. When we have talks between us on the quiet table, it will take President Trump to listen to them. I'm not going to be repeating what I've been saying. I would say if there was Afrikaner farmer genocide, I can bet you these three gentlemen would not be here, including my Minister of Agriculture. He would not be with me. So it'll take him, President Trump, listening to their stories, to their perspective. That is the answer to your question.
But, Mr. President, I must say that we have, wait. We have thousands of stories talking about it. Sure. And we have documentaries, we have news stories, and that. Is Natalie here, somebody here to turn that? I could show you a couple of things, and it has to be responded to.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so that's when he starts showing the footage. So that's after that statement by the president of South Africa saying it's going to take President Trump to listen to his friends around a little table to understand that there is no white genocide going on in South Africa.
He queued him up.
Hmm?
Yeah, he queued him up perfectly. It was very interesting. I mean, for the South African president, the reporter asked Trump a question. And South African president butts in and says, I'll answer that for Trump. Yeah. And then says, does he talk to your friends and listen? And Trump's like, oh, well, don't mind if I do. I made you this video.
This montage of 4 minutes of internet clips of showing white genocide, or at least, the story from that side of things. So that was interesting. And then he's got papers.
But coming back to this issue, which I really would like us to talk about, and talk about it very calmly. We were taught by Nelson Mandela that whenever there are problems, people need to sit down around a table and talk about them.
Well, there are problems.
And this is precisely what we would also like to talk about, including, of course, trade matters, investment matters. So the issues that concern you as the United States.
So while the president of South Africa is talking and saying that, we got to talk about these problems, Trump says, well, there are problems. And he reaches over and there's a pile of, 200 pages. Do you think,
fat
Basil?
Stack of paper.
Big old fat stack of papers, which I guess are stories of, the people, white farmers in South Africa getting killed or getting kicked out or whatever it may be, and hands it to the president of South Africa as he's talking. So that's what's going on with the sound there.
Those are all deaths.
Yeah, in many ways, I mean, one should say you are a partner of South Africa, and you are raising concerns, and these are concerns that we are willing to talk to you about.
I want you to look good. I don't want you to look bad.
Very good.
But we have hundreds of people, thousands of people trying to come into our country because they feel they're going to be killed and their land is going to be confiscated. And you do have laws that were passed that gives you the right to confiscate land for no payment. You can take away land for no payment.
I want to clarify that because we have a constitution. Our constitution guarantees and protects the sanctity of tenure of land ownership. And that constitution protects all South Africans with regard to land ownership. However, we do say, because we've got to deal with the past, the government, and as your government also has the right to expropriate land for public use.
And you're doing that.
And we've never really gotten underway with that. And we are going to be doing so.
You're taking people's land away
we have not.
From them. And those people in many cases are being executed.
Yeah.
They're being executed. And they happen to be white, and most of them happen to be farmers. Mm-hmm. And that's a tough situation. I don't know how you explain that. How do you explain that? They're taking people's land away, and in many cases those people are being executed, and in many cases it's not the government that's doing it, it's people that kill them and then take their land, and nothing happens to them. But we have thousands of people that want to come into our country.
Okay, so he makes the same point over and over again, but you get the idea here that Trump is pushing back, but he's doing so in a much more calm way. I think he's matching the energy of the South African president, who is very tame and calm, and
he's doing a great job.
Mandela spirit, as opposed to the Zelensky, which in that situation, J.D. Vance opened the window for everybody to pile on. It was J.D. Vance that really started the rant against Zelensky that made Zelensky mad. So a little bit of a different tactic here. This is Trump using, I don't know, facts in the X feed or something to throw at.
That's the thing here. This is what's so amazing. First of all, the South African president, you got to give it to him. He is measured. He pushes back. He's a good politician, unlike Zelensky. But Trump came with video clips. He came with a stack of papers. Like he's like throwing facts, and that's how it feels. Honestly, that's how it feels trying to get to the bottom of this whole situation, because you have one side who's being very articulate and straightforward about saying nothing's happening, everything's fine, but then the other side is like, well, here's a clip and here's a clip and here's an article and here's a death. There's just so much evidence that piles on, and you can put it in front of the media or this guy, and they always have something to say about it. And in this case, what gave it away for him was, he says, you have the laws to take people's land away. And he goes, yes, well, we have a constitution, and however we have a past, he says. And that's when he gave it away.
He did give it away there.
He says, however we have a past, and what he's saying is, we can take white farmers' land sort of as revenge for the past. Okay, now just to kind of wrap this up, and surely there will be more, and hopefully we'll get to talk to South African tomorrow on Canary Cry Clubhouse. So tune in for that tomorrow. But I go, okay, well, what is going on here? Let me just take it away. Let me not think about the farmers. Let's not blah, blah, blah. It's a 5th generation warfare. Very likely something else entirely is going on. So we start digging in. What's the natural resources of South Africa? Oh my gosh, the natural resources are crazy. They got gold, they got platinum, they got all these sorts of things. But oh yes, thank you for this. My immediate thing to check was, okay, this is racial stuff. This is, making up for racial history. This is all feeling very familiar here as an American.
Little BLM action, little, there's
exactly. So my My first search was George Soros in South Africa. I mean, you can't blame me. The first thing that came to my mind was, okay, what is George Soros doing in South Africa? What is this? And, first thing comes up was Open Society Foundation. For those who don't know, that is the primary sort of Soros operation, the Open Society Foundation. They have their very own page on the website, the Open Society Foundation in South Africa. The Open Society Foundation for South Africa began work in 1993 as the country was preparing for its first democratic elections. Oh, interesting. Soros shows up in the country the year before their very first democratic election. That seems pretty fine and reasonable.
No, it's just
fine.
A coincidence.
And they go on to say, they go on to say, but that's just Open Society has been there since 1993. George Soros himself has been doing stuff since 1979, launching scholarship programs for Black South African students. In 1987, Soros provided financial support for blah, 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 the first dialogue between businesses and political leaders. So long story short, Soros is all over this place, and he has been for many decades. It goes into, let's see here. Today, many of the projects and organizations that the foundation supports focus on protecting the constitutional rights of minorities. Well, probably not white people, I'm assuming, who are forced to the edge of society, refugees, sex workers, LGBT community. It's all feeling very, very familiar here.
Which South Africa also has a whole bunch of your familiar foe. You have the World Economic Forum in there. South African banks and ministers are involved with a lot of World Economic Forum initiatives, including the Fourth Industrial Revolution stuff, a lot of climate goals, a lot of digital economy stuff. You got the IMF and the World Bank, who South Africa has borrowed extensively from, especially during COVID. So they're indebted to those institutions, which, of course, if you're going to borrow money from the IMF and the World Bank, there are certain things you got to follow. You got Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation there, obviously. Gavi's in there. The United Nations is in there, obviously, and pushing for the 2030 agenda. BlackRock, Vanguard, JP Morgan, they all hold stakes in major South African companies. So, yeah, the legacy, deep state, globalist, corporatocracy, whatever you want to call it, all over South Africa, which is probably, they're just running back the system, the program from the last 8 years in South Africa this time. Yeah, it's just the same thing.
It's ground zero, base of operations, forward operating base for the whole kit and caboodle is South Africa for the African continent, which we've already covered in the past, how important Africa is to the sort of globalist situation.
And plus the gold mining, which is in the 70s when Soros first arrived, right?
Yes. Well, and
was
that
a big deal. Mm-hmm.
That gets to the resources. Enormous resources. Yeah. Now, 3% of the entire world's gold comes from South Africa, and that doesn't seem
Which is
crazy.
A decline. It's a decline. Yeah.
It's a decline. It's been declining recently. Interestingly enough, at the same time that all this is going on, seems to track. And, we do have the gold rush. We've got the gold panic going on now. America bringing back the gold from the London Bank and the Vatican. The gold stuff is really weird right now. So, I'm looking at that going, huh. And according to Elon Musk, Starlink is not operating there because South Africa has a rule. Yeah, South Africa has a rule that if you are going to be a business operating, you need, I think it's like 50% black ownership. So kind of this reparations kind of stuff. Now, I go from, platinum. Mm-hmm. Okay, South Africa and platinum. 70% of all platinum in the entire world comes from South Africa. Yeah. Interesting. So I go, okay, maybe platinum has something to do with this. And this leads me to the end of the road when it comes to South Africa. Look, there's a lot of crazy...
The golden bowl at the end of the rainbow.
This brought me all the way back around to 5th generation warfare. And to be clear, you know, we have evidence for what we have evidence for, and this is not to take away from the experience of the individuals who are trying to get out of South Africa. Yeah. However, I ran into a streak of stories in recent years regarding platinum. And let's see here. Let me jump over to my thing. What do we got here? Okay, from a South African news outlet. Okay,
yeah,
how do
that link is dead.
Oh, is it dead?
I was trying to tell you in our special chat, but I don't think you're paying attention.
Yeah, I saw that. I can re-put it in there. Let me see. We can do the one you have up first in a second. I'm a little afraid that maybe your firewall's not going to let this one because it's a weird South African news site.
I'm getting a 403 forbidden, so I don't know.
Yeah, it sounds like you're blocked. Anywho, so there's zoomsouthafrica.com. Northam Platinum, which is, I think, the largest platinum producer in South Africa. Northam Platinum, this is the headline. Zelensky's surprising move into the mining industry? So you have a South African outlet says this. Vladimir Zelensky has acquired a controlling 51% stake in Northam Platinum Ltd, a top South African mining company, in a deal worth around 27 billion rands. This marks one of the largest mining acquisitions in South Africa in recent years. Okay, Zelensky popping up, buying a platinum thing. So I try to dig into this more. Let's see if we can do this. Then it gets me a fact check in Reuters. Thank you. Fact check. Fake news report says Zelensky bought majority stake in South African miner. Okay, we're back and forth about Zelensky buying platinum. It says here, an imposter video posing as a news report by South Africa's public broadcaster falsely states that Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky has purchased a major stake in South African mining company Northam Platinum. Now, keep in mind, this came out this month on the 14th, so this is all happening simultaneously. Everything with the refugees and this alleged fake news about Zelensky buying up the biggest platinum producer in South Africa. The video is posted on social media, uses SABC News branding, and says Zelensky bought a 51% stake in the mining company via two holding companies, Hurley Trading Ltd. And Maltex Multi-Capital Corp. The video shows a screenshot of a Zimbabwean newspaper headline about Zelensky's surprising move into mining, and later a blurry interview with a man introduced as a mine worker at Northam's Zonderinde facility. Quote, a few weeks ago, we were told that the company changed ownership, but it will not affect us workers, says the man, who is wearing a red hard hat. In the background is a southeastern section of Zonderinde mine, which was verified by Reuters. The man adds, quote, they say the new owner is President of Ukraine, Vladimir Zelensky. The video also says that South Africa's National Union of Mine Workers called for urgent discussions in response to the news. However, here's the fact check. However, there is no evidence that the video is an authentic SABC broadcast. The outlet.
Wow. That's the debunk, huh? Okay, so the footage isn't fake. It's just the branding is fake on the footage. Okay.
There's no evidence that the video is an authentic SABC broadcast. And on top of that, the outlet did not respond to a request for comment, but described the video online as fake news. There is also no evidence that Zelensky has purchased 51% stake in Northam Platinum. Spokespeople for both the Ukrainian president and the mining company said this was untrue, while the Zimbabwean newspaper denied publishing the article that was shown in the video. The mine workers' union did not respond to a request for comment. Okay, so we're having trouble finding, this is a fairly strong fact check as far as getting any official word, talking to the mining company, talking to Zelensky's people, etc. So pretty strong, fact check. Then I go, okay, well, what else is going on here? Why in the world would anybody care to make fake news about Zelensky buying a platinum company. Well, for all my favorite Russian propaganda, I go to news-pravda.com. It says metal business. Zelensky acquired 51% of Northern Platinum, the largest platinum producer in South Africa, for $1.6 billion. Okay, let's see. We got another outlet here, Pravda. Okay, this is either Ukrainian or it's Russian. It says here, shortly before Zelensky's visit to South Africa, it became known that the Ukrainian clown had acquired a controlling stake in Northern Platinum Ltd,
Ukrainian
the
clown.
mining company. The Ukrainian clown. Okay, so all right, maybe he didn't. I don't know, maybe he did, but this weird sort of Russian outlet calls him a clown. We're looking at some propaganda, okay? We got some propaganda going. So if I want to check propaganda, who do I go to? The best at it. That is the American CIA. Gotta go check Voice of America, baby. So I go to Voice of America, voanews.com, to see, why would Russia be pushing weird anti-Zelensky propaganda in South Africa? Again, this is all happening presently. But I did find this Voice of America from last year, August of last year, 8 months ago. The headline, Kremlin-backed TV channel woos Africa. And long story short, it says billboards and videos popping up in several African cities now show 20th century independence leaders and anti-colonial quotes as part of a drive to promote the Kremlin-backed outlet RT.
Hey,
so RT
is in South Africa. They
have established a headquarters in South Africa, and it is being seen that RT not only has a headquarters in South Africa, but is putting up anti-colonial quotes as part of a drive to promote the outlet. So anti-colonial meaning, anti-Boer, meaning anti-white in South Africa. So you have Russia running sort of an anti-white media operation through RT with a new headquarters in Africa. With these weird media operations, fake news, propaganda. I don't know, maybe it's real. I got to dig into the actual source material of this platinum thing, but making this narrative that Zelensky, the Ukrainian clown Zelensky, purchased controlling stake in the biggest platinum producing company in South Africa, which makes it the biggest platinum producing company in the world. So I don't, I have a pretty good idea of what's actually happening as far as the individual experience of various white people in South Africa. But you go down as deep as you can, the entire South African situation. I mean, remember, they're in BRICS too. This goes all the way back to Russia, BRICS. You're talking global economics here. And specifically, at least this narrative that Zelensky, who Trump has been courting for quite some time. Trump's whole desire is to make peace in Ukraine in a way that gives America access to the rare minerals. Okay, it's all about the mineral deal. It's all about the money. It's all about the BlackRock. Sure, we can stop the war. We'll come in. We'll be there. Just give us the mineral deal. So far, it has not manifested in the way that Trump wants. And at the same time, Russia blasting out this propaganda, whether it's true or not, that Zelensky is making his own mineral deals in South Africa, looping all the way back around. And of course, South African mining companies are primarily owned by white people. At least that's the narrative from the South Africans. So, it's all looped together. At least as always, we're used to it in America, where these sort of social, racial issues are really downstream from major principalities and powers moving across the face of the earth. The South Africa thing seems to be in a very similar situation. Who knows what's going on down there, except for we do know that it is a full-on fifth-generation warfare battlefield, not just for the minds of Americans, but also for the minds of the South Africans and the entire world. It is a very intense situation.
Yeah. Well, South Africa.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say that with the BRICS, I don't think is South Africa officially part of BRICS?
I believe so. I believe we reported that they had joined.
That's what I thought,
I
too.
think they're the S. They're the S in BRICS.
That's what I thought too. Yeah, you're right. It is BRICS, South Africa. So this is probably ultimately what's going on is resource control. It's the gateway between the West and the East, and who gets to go in there and it's
global
probably
controlling currency.
Yeah,
too.
global control. Yeah, it's a big one for currency. But also, with Russia, everybody trying to kind of get into Africa. That's part of the overall Afrofuturism thesis as well, is that there's this race to take over the resources in Africa and almost do exactly what they did, exactly what Soros did in the 70s and the 90s, to get in there and control the politics and benefit the other nations, so to speak, and use it as a resource. And so it's a resource-based battle here, and the poor South African citizens are the ones kind of in the middle of this, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean these racial issues, flared up for global economic reasons, and I think South Africa's BRICS participation and the Russian propaganda as one of the leaders of BRICS loops all the way around to the currency wars. Is it the dollar? Is it the petrodollar? Is it whatever BRICS is doing? Or could it be some sort of stable coin, Gons?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but it could be Trump doing the bidding for Russia in a sense, because if Russia is part of BRICS, he doesn't. Maybe Russia can't diplomatically kind of go in there and do things very aggressively, but they can use Trump as sort of the brunt force to make things happen for Russia.
What
I
was
am having
trying
trouble
to do
with
is
my
give
jingle
you.
board. I know.
I was trying to give you a perfect segue into your next
I understand.
story.
No, well, part of the issue is I'm playing the jingle board and nothing is playing off this computer anymore. No sound. Like I'm hitting all kinds of buttons and there's no sound.
I can do a cappella. Here I go.
Okay.
Boop, 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 boop. It's Gon's Crypto Hour. Watch out. Crypto.
All right. Thanks for leaving me all this time to talk about the Genius Act. Has it passed yet? Let me do a quick real-time check on the Genius Act, because I know they were voting on it today. But this is coming from abcnews.com, and the headline here is What to Know About Genius Act, a crypto regulation bill. The Senate voted 66 to 22 to advance the measure late Monday. And I'm trying to find something that's immediate here. But people in crypto are very excited about this, because this is finally we get some crypto regulation. But if you look under the hood, it's one of those called it moments, unfortunately. I have mixed feelings about this, Basil, because it is, for early investors in crypto, this is very bullish, because it will probably bring in institutional money. It will bring in all kinds of wealthy people to invest in crypto, because the basic tenet here is that stable coins, which, let me read the article here and it'll give you a little bit of an idea of what stable coins are. Okay, let's see here. It says, proponents hailed the bill as a means of protecting consumers and setting industry standards, which could allow such crypto coins like stable coins, which is pegged to the value of another asset like the US dollar, to become mainstream tool for digital payment and other financial instruments. Now, they talk about some critics of the bill, which is your couple of your Democrats or whatever pushing back against it. Although there are a bunch of Democrats that supported this, which I think goes into a bigger conversation about the rebranding of the Democrats in America. Without getting too deep now, I get the sense, and this is sort of a trend, an early trend I'm noticing, is that the Democrats are going to pick up a lot of the populist talking points to gain favor with more of the common sense parts of how we govern this country, and then, kind of rebrand the Democrat Party, steal the Promethean fire from the techno-populist right, and
So
kind of
what's the
rebrand
long
it
and
for the
short
left.
of the bill? What exactly is
The
being...
bill basically, it's basically allowing issuers, so private corporations, private companies, to issue stable coins, to issue USDC or USDT, whatever these different stable coins are. PayPal has one called Pi USD.
Like your bank, this is how the banks want to get away from the currency problems with electronic dollars. If they put your dollars, we talked about this before, where the banks want to, when you give them your dollars, they don't actually hold dollars for you. They convert it into their stable coin. And so, if you move it around or whatever, it's much faster. It's not as regulated. It's supposed to speed up the process, but at the same time, you don't own dollars when you put your money into the bank. You don't actually own the dollars.
Right. So it doesn't go as far as making stablecoins legal tender, not yet anyway, but it puts a comprehensive regulatory framework around stablecoins so that, institutions, banks can handle stablecoins now and do so, legally or whatever. But the bigger point that we've been harping on for a while now, for at least a few years, with this idea of stablecoins is that it's basically a CBDC. And I know in the last couple of years you had, DeSantis in Florida come out and sign a bill. We will never have CBDCs in the state of Florida. Trump came out and said no on CBDCs. And a lot of people were stoked about it, saying, hey, this is great. This means, freedom and et cetera, et cetera. Well, if you understand a little bit of the technology of how blockchains work and how stablecoins work and stuff like that, it was really easy to recognize from the get-go that, hey, these are companies that are issuing these stable dollars. So if the company, a private company, is partnering with the government to oversee how everybody uses this and putting, legal frameworks around it, sure, it's great for the wealthy people and the institutions and the banks to come into crypto and digital assets and all this kind of stuff. And, in terms of a monetary gain for those people who invested in cryptocurrencies early, that's great. But the trade-off for having those big players come into the digital asset realm is that there's going to be legal framework. There's going to be legal protections. There's going to be government partnerships. And what this basically is a public-private partnership. The same old PPPs that we've seen with the military-industrial complex, how they've built the private companies working with the governments to enforce or to build, military equipment or weapons for war or whatever it might be. In this case, they're...
Oh, I was going to say, the point being really that it doesn't need... CBDCs don't matter. We're moving into network state anyways.
Right.
The difference between the government, the actual central bank making digital currency versus using this collection of private-public partnership corporate network state stable coins, it's actually, there's, as far as each individual, it's almost worse than if there was a CBDC because it's diffusing
a little bit. Yeah,
the sort of responsibility. Yeah,
there's only a couple benefits
you
to
get
it.
all the bad parts. You get all the worst parts about the CBDC: the controllable money, the programmable thing, the control over your every dollar that you earn.
Yeah,
the control is all there. The only difference is it's controlled through a partnership with a corporation and not controlled by,
directly by the central
guy
bank
sitting by the feds hitting a button. Yeah.
Right. So I posted on X here, Genius Act similarities to CBDCs. It's centralized approval of issuers. There's surveillance. So there's BSA and there's KYC. There's all these sanctions. They all apply because now it's government handled money. Custodial rules and reporting. So if you're a big stablecoin issuer, you're going to have to, have certain licenses or whatever, and government triggered enforcement. If the government comes in and said, "Hey, these people over here, they shouldn't be allowed to use the stablecoins," well, the stablecoin companies can shut down or at least kind of like block those wallets on behalf of the government. It wouldn't be the companies doing it; they're just following the rules of the government. It's terrorist stuff or trafficking money or whatever it may be. So, but the difference is, and these are a little more neutral, is that there's no protocol level reversibility or blocking. So at the protocol level, it's still just a blockchain. So you and I can still send, for example, USDC, which is a very popular stablecoin. I can send USDC to you and back. So at the protocol level, we can still operate in that way. But if we want to send it to a bank or something like that, or a financial institution, that's where the blocking and all that stuff can happen. It still allows for self-custody at a certain level, which is good. If you had a total CBDC, they would be in control of all of it. No direct Federal Reserve issuance and no programmability mandated. So, and I said here, the Genius Act does not create a CBDC, but it lays the institutional, technical, and legal groundwork for a federally regulated digital dollar ecosystem implemented through private corporations under government oversight. I think labeling it a Trojan horse is a valid critical lens, especially when viewed through the history of corporatized state power. So it's a lot of the same. It's just, it's a new shiny toy, digital assets. So people are excited about it. And I think this is why we had all-time highs with Bitcoin today, although it crashed back down, but it's back up again. What are we at? 108,000 per Bitcoin.
Crashed back down.
It crashed all the way from 109,000 to 106,000, and we're back up to 108,000. So yeah.
Oh my gosh, what a crash.
Can you imagine? Bitcoin was 15,000 2 years ago. It's at 110,000 now.
Okay. Yes, crypto's a good time.
Sheesh.
So,
okay,
they're making moves.
They're making moves. It's becoming legitimized or whatever it may be. So we'll see. But this is one of those things with the stablecoin, the Genius Act. The problems are not going to be apparent in the immediate. In fact, it might even clean up the world a little bit. If a criminal uses it or something like that, they'll be able to track all of it in much easier way, track people down and figure that stuff out.
Yeah, I mean, but you don't buy that. It's not whatever. Criminals, who cares about that? I mean, this is any rule they make, they're going to make it because of criminals, But the point is that if they can control the criminal's dollar, they can control your dollar.
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah. So there you go. We had more stories, but I think we're out of time, Basil.
Yeah, I think so. You got to go pick up the kids. I might talk about the producers. Forgot about that. Yeah, we'll thank the producers, and then I might talk about the Joe Rogan thing tomorrow. We'll see you. Canary Cry Clubhouse.
Oh yeah, that might
check
be a
it
good
out.
one.
We've got I think I'll do that. All right, we got a couple more producers I want to thank. Thank you guys so much for coming in, making this show possible. This is value for value. It's the best way to do it. It's, talk about working outside the system. This is working outside the spiritual system of capitalizing on consciousness, which is a primary business model for the entire world. But value for value is a strong, practical, and internal personal victory over that. So we got some people to thank. I want to thank producer Ian S., who came in, joined the supply drop.
Hey, my soundboard's back. Ian S.
Yay. Thank you very much, Ian S. Join the supply drop. Folks, there's only there's about a week left to join the supply drop. And there's going to be a very cool project from Sam Swanson that's going to be in there. You'll hear about it this Friday. Yeah. So go, CanaryCrySupplyDrop.com. Go sign up. Get your Gon's prayer hat. Get your red tape Sam Swanson project. It's going to be a very good one. Thank you to the American Hobo.
Hey, American Hobo.
Coming in for 2332 on a 12-episode streak. Thank you.
12-episode streak. Walking on the sun. Good job.
We got producer Sir Rightfoot Joy, who says, here is my $7.77 vote for podcasts without the guilt trip. Sir Rightfoot Joy. Thank you very much.
Sir Rightfoot Joy. I like it.
I'll say this. I finished the preceding No Agenda episode, and the guilt seemed to work for them. The producers are back.
It worked for Sir Rightfoot Joy.
Yeah, thank you very much for your vote for non-guilting the non-producers. Next up, we got Sir Casey the Shield Knight coming in.
Hey, Sir Casey the Shield Knight.
Sir Casey the Shield Knight.
Comes in for $7.77. He's on a 540 episode streak.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's crazy. And he has a note here that says, "Happy birthday song for me. Love you all. Yah bless yens." It's Sir Casey's birthday.
It's my birthday. It's my birthday. Happy birthday to me.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday, Sir Casey.
Happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
Just a couple more here, and then we're going to let Gons go get his kids. We got Sir Moore of Now to the Burning Chariots coming in for $7.77.
Thank you, Sir Morv.
We got CageRattlerCoffee.com on a 28 episode streak. Go to CageRattlerCoffee.com, folks.
Cage Rattler Coffee.
The vocal sort of fill is great.
Cage Rattler Coffee, where value for value never tasted so good.
That's right. Support the show, support other Canarians, get your caffeine fix at the same time. They are running a discount code ORGANIC, O-R-G-ANIC, over there at CageRattlerCoffee.com. It's roasted in America. It supports Canarian families, and it goes to support this show as well. So go do that if you haven't done it. The coupon code ORGANIC is in commemoration of this week being the anniversary of making GMO foods legal, which Canary Cage Rattler Coffee is not GMO. It's all organic. So use the code ORGANIC for a little discount there. Last but not least, we got producer Bill C. came in and joined as a monthly producer for 511 on the Patreon. So
Bill C. Thank you very much, Bill.
Yeah, thank you very much. You know, for the sake of time, the dear streakers who come in under the $7.77 mark, I am keeping track of your streaks, and we'll be thanking you next week. I appreciate you.
Yep, thank you.
And with that, Gons, with that, everybody, thank you to all the producers who come in with their time, their talent, their treasure, making this show happen. It would be absolutely impossible to do this with us sticking to our spiritual guns about not monetizing your soul, your consciousness, your trust, those types of things. We just don't feel right about doing that. And you guys keep this show going. It's all about producers, not just producing the show for themselves, not just producing the show for Gons and I, but producing it for all the Canarians around the world. And in times when things are slow for producership, it's an excellent moment for producers who maybe haven't produced ever or haven't produced in a long time to sort of band together and help and share the load with the producers who do come in pretty regularly. So, but I do want to thank the timestamper, because we're now making sure the timestamps are available on the video there on YouTube. Who are we
Timestamp, it's hard work. Timestamp.
I believe it's Jade Bouncerson doing
That's
the
right. Thank you, Jade Banserson. Thank you to Jam for leading the Telegram channel. Thank you to Adam42 for the Discord. Thank you to Joe for all the feedback. Thank you to Clank for clanking. Go to canarycry.party if you're a Telegram or a Discord person. And other than that, don't you dare share this show. This is a very special show just for you. Only the people who the Holy Spirit wants to find the show will find the show. And if you are tempted to share the show with somebody, you know, that's between you and God. But we do call it rattling cages, and all you got to do is walk right up to him, grab him by the cage, and then you shake it.
Shake it! The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
That's Noah.
That's right. Gons, you got any last words?
Congratulations to tomorrow for being Gout Awareness Day. Make sure you let all your friends and family know about Gout Awareness Day, as well as Bitcoin Pizza Day tomorrow. So there you go. 15 years since it cost 10 what is it? I don't know, $10 billion for 2 pizzas or something.
It's a 10,000 Bitcoin for a pizza.
Well, 10,000 Bitcoin worth how much now? It's like 10 billion or something. Right?
Oh, something crazy. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, my hip has been flaring up lately, so I don't know. Maybe that was in preparation for Gout Awareness Day.
Maybe, yeah.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time. But until then, think outside the cage.
Armageddon's on the way. This is the United States of America, for God's sake.
I've ordered more pills than anyone in the world.
It will kill.
I love the Great Reset.
Feed him more.
They love killing.
Give me a break. This is the United States of America, for God's sake.
I love the Great Reset.
Toilets! Toilets!
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Bye!